I am Primal Piggy. Thank you for joining me for another BDSM United podcast. We don't deal with a lot of sex toy related education because a lot of social media platforms that we use are a bit prudish when it comes to putting sex toy images on their platforms. But this guide that we found from Uber Kinky is great because it talks about a subject that could really use more space in our community. How should men use a dildo? Or how do men use a dildo? I'm Primal Piggy. You can find all of our resources at www.bdsmunited.com. And this is a really cool topic, so I hope you'll stay tuned for it and listen through the end. Um, Guys, if you're looking for some fun on your own or with a fuck buddy, then this is really the right place. This is the right podcast for you today. We want to show you how men should use a dildo because, believe it or not, they're not just for females to get off on. So let's look at a few myths and misconceptions. In fact, let's explore some other myths and misconceptions around dildos, aside from the main one that they're just for vaginas. It's simple. Whatever your sex, your gender, your sexuality, or your relationship status, dildos or any kind of phallic shaped device can bring you plenty of pleasure. And if you're straight and you use a dildo, this doesn't make you gay. If you're straight, anything you do really can't change who you are. You know your sexuality, and if you want to explore anal play with a phallic shaped device, then go ahead. Especially when you can experience some truly intense orgasms. They may even be better than what you're used to in other methods. And if you want to be penetrated, then this doesn't make you less of a man or not a real man. It's about exploring your kinks and new ways of pleasuring, and you can pick up a dildo to suit any kink or sexual preference. Let's speak a bit about dildo diversity. Let's dive into the diverse range of dildos that are out there, and I think you're in for a treat. Let's start with size. If you fancy a smaller dildo to get started with, then pick from a collection of small dildos. They absolutely exist. Or on the other end of the scale, go with huge dildos with a throbbing vein detail, tentacles, or the anal snake kind of sex toy. You can open up a new world of fun fetishes. If the idea of a huge dildo makes you bulge, then try starting with some depth training. Dildos to practice insertion as deep as you can. Depending on how you and your partner like to get groaning. There's also double ended dildos or double penetration dildos for uh, action that both of you can use. Whether your partner is another man or is a female or has a vagina or not. And they don't have to look penisy either. If realistic dildos don't do it for you, you can get you can get horny with the unicorn shape or fly high with the dragon. Explore the undiscovered territory with alien and fantasy dildos. You can also tickle those fancies of yours with a tentacle. But you can also just find a simple peg. The reason it's even called pegging is because traditionally it was a harness with a peg on it, and the peg is not very penisy looking, not very phallic shaped. It's just that simple, round, smooth peg. Need some power? Many dildos come with a vibrator pocket to slide in a vibrator, or you can Slide a vibrating cock ring onto a dildo for increased intensity. Or you could basically use a vibrator uh, just by itself, although vibrators are not always spongy in material. So you definitely want to take that into account that um, you're probably going to want something a little more silicone, a little more spongy, because it's definitely going to be more comfortable in your anus, most likely. And if you want something packed with a punch, well, you can um, use a fist dildo. They have dildos of all shapes, all sizes, all types. So you might be thinking, how does a dildo even give me pleasure in my ass? Well, it's all about the P spot or a prostate orgasm. A blended orgasm is not just for vagina owners. If you're single or you just want some self love time, then you could cook up a romantic meal, dim the lights, and get ready for a filling from a delectable dildo dessert. With suction capabilities, some dildos can stick a suction cup onto flat surfaces like the floor, to a chair, against a wall, or in the shower for hands-free indulging to work your prostate while you work your penis. Or simply slide it in and out of yourself. Create the fantasy of someone there with some oral action as you're jacking off. You can even gobble up a dildo for yourself if you want to explore um, that sensation of having something phallic shaped in your mouth. Remember, anything that you do uh, by yourself, especially with an inanimate object like a dildo, will never change your sexuality, no matter who you are. Whether you're straight, you're gay, you're bisexual, or maybe you don't even care for a label, sorry, and you love all kinds of bodies, dildos can cater for any of your desires. If you're partnering up and you both have penises, you can create the illusion of a threesome by giving oral to your partner by riding a dildo yourself. Or have your partner thrust you while you slide the a dildo type into your mouth. If you're playing with a vagina, you can slide a dildo to graze the G spot while giving oral, while rimming them, while penetrating them anally, or you can double fill them. They call that double a DVP, double vaginal penetration. Or again, you can turn the tables by penetrating vaginally and letting them ride on a dildo for some doggy action. There's just so many different ways to explore and to make sex more exciting for you both. Let them take a seat on a deep dildo while they give you, take a seat on a dildo while they give you a blowjob. You're going to feel a lot of different pleasure in that. If you're ready for a role play or switching up the power dynamics in a scene, pegging involves those with vaginas to take charge from behind by using a strap on dildo. A flared based dildo is oftentimes what you need, and they're compatible with a strap on. If you want to use a dildo to please your partner, then make sure you communicate with them first to find out what they're into. You want to discuss the material, the size, the design, the shape, and the features. When pleasuring a vagina, you can slide a dildo against the sensitive area smoothly and create sensual suspense with different techniques. Speed it up, slow it down, gently insert or go full throttle, whatever really floats their boat. If you're filling up many holes, just remember to make sure that each toy has its own, uh, each hole has its own toy, or wash in between, or cover them with some type of barrier, such as a condom. So, here are just a few rules or guidelines to remember for the men when using a dildo. First, lube it up. Make sure to use the right lube and make things comfortable for everyone. Most dildos are made from silicone, so you can use a water based lubricant, but you may want to avoid a silicone lube for this type of material. It can make them break down. If you're up for fisting action and you with those fist dildos or by hand, there's fisting toy lubes. And for anal play, there's a special anal lube that can sometimes be used if if you feel more comfortable using that. You want to clean after every use. After every use, make sure to clean your dildo thoroughly. Always read the instructions, but typically you should use a mild chemical free soap. That is nothing that's fragrance or antibacterial. And you want to use something like a washcloth to scrub and wipe them before patting them dry. Good thing for silicone dildos is to store them in a sock because oftentimes if one silicone dildo touches another silicone toy, sometimes they will melt into each other. Luckily though, there are special toy cleaners that you can get, like sex toy cleaner. Just make sure that they're fully dried before storing them away. Some dildos can even be boiled or put in the dishwasher if you want them to be extra clean. Be sure that you use high quality products. Please don't go for cheap when it comes to sex toys, and you need to buy from reputable brands that specialize in body safe and medical grade products. So it's a little worth the extra investment to ensure a safe, durable, and high quality product is used for you or for your partner. Please don't insert objects that don't belong, that aren't made for, or please don't try to DIY a dildo. Sometimes these products can get lost anally within you, and it makes for a very awkward, oftentimes painful medical or hospital visit to retrieve items out of your anus. I'm Primal Piggy. Thank you for joining me for this special podcast where we talk about using dildos for men. We just hope that you are comfortable uh, just exploring your own desires, your own kinks, knowing that when you use an item like a dildo, no matter what your sexuality or sexual orientation is, a device like a dildo isn't going to change that. So, no matter how you want to explore or what kinks you even want to explore, they oftentimes don't change your identity. They don't change who you are. Just because you do something, it doesn't necessarily change who you are. So, explore without shame and just have a lot of fun with kink. I'm Primal Piggy. Again, this is the BDSM United podcast, and you can find all of our resources at www.bdsmunited.com. It's been a joy speaking with you today, and I'll talk with you again soon.